All right, it's 15 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock, 94.9 News Now and Stimulating Talk. Our number is 860-464-9490 or 631-317-1949. If you want to call in, we'd love to hear from you. A lot going on around the world. We can tackle just about any problem, any topic. Special guest joining me here in the studio. I'll bring him on in 1 second. Don't forget, coming up on the 7th, today's the 5th. This is Wednesday. Over at Three Rivers Community College, they'll host the 5th Annual Veterans Resource Fair. Again, the free event for veterans and their families. It's a one-stop shop for jobs, education, health services, you name it. It's all going on over at Three Rivers Community College. Check that out. It'll be happening from 10 to 2. And you can go over there and get some expert advice and maybe network a little bit and get a job, a better paying job, and get a couple of opportunities. Here with me in the studio, the one and only Joe Visconti, who's been with us a number of different times. Joe, first of all, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Monday. There
it is. You're up and at 'em. You're early. It's good.
What a ride down from Hartford.
I know. Was it bad out there?
Glastonbury, Marlboro.
Okay.
Kind of slick.
All right. Well, listen, here's the deal. So you contacted me on Friday. You said I got a big special announcement. A lot happened, a lot of wheels in motion. So I'm just going to get out of the way. What's new? What's happening?
Okay, so here's what's happened. The last several months, I've been planning this, looking at the governor's race as I've been in the governor's race since last year. The field has become more crowded every day. Someone else is coming in. And my plan was to go straight to primary, get my signatures, and go. We held off fundraising months ago, just keeping enough to keep our website and whatnot going. So we didn't take money from people. If I made the move I'm about to make today. Well, we actually made the move legally. March 1st, last Thursday,
all right.
I exited formally the governor's race and entered formally the U.S. Senate race against Chris Murphy. So that's done. Website's the same, joeviscontict.com. And I'd love to tell you all the reasons why and what's really happening behind the scenes in the governor's race and across the state of Connecticut. But start off with last Tuesday. I worked with my team as volunteers on Election Day in Stratford, where the Democrats took a seat we held, Republicans, for 44 years.
Right.
Chris Murphy led the charge on the ground. He's got $10 million in the bank, nothing stopping him, and he brought out 900,000 voters last cycle. I believe he'll bring 1 million this time. God bless our Republican Party. About 12 or more people are all on one side of the boat. We're down at the beach here. Everybody has a boat. Everybody, you go fishing. All the good candidates, great candidates have all gone into the governor's race, and the boat's going to flip. We need congressional candidates that are funded with name recognition. We need U.S. Senate candidate. We've got a couple guys in the race. One friend of mine, Matt Corey, fighting out there, is not getting a lot of support or traction. And that race, we have to counter Chris Murphy. And so I've studied for a few months going, oh, my God, do I have to make this move? Is anyone going to get in? What do we do? Because what happens is the Republicans think, oh, we'll just get the governors because people like Republican governors. Not so this cycle. The rabid liberals, they're out in force, motivated, angry, hateful, at least in my town of West Hartford. And so Murphy will rile them up and bring them to the Democrat ballot. And they will trickle down into state races, into Senate races, governor's race. They're not going to jump off the ballot as they usually do, which means our governor, whoever ends up being the primary winner, is going to have their hands full.
All right, so do you think then at a state level, because I actually do think this, at a state level, this Trump phenomenon, plus you add to the mix this Murphy scenario where you think you're going to get 1 million people coming out to vote, do you think these House advantages that they had statewide, they'll lose those in 2018?
Republicans?
Yeah.
I believe right now the way the race is, unless something's done for a congressional race and the race that I just entered with Murphy, unless we get the traction, which we're going to try to do nationally. I'm going to try to light this up with MAGA, Trump, MAGA. And it's my job to light it up statewide and then get it national. Right. But, yes, we lose right now today House seats. We lose the Senate. I'm hoping Tony Boucher goes back out of the governor's race, gets back to her seat and starts running. I hope Joe Markley, God bless him, he's running for lieutenant governor, gets back to Bristol and keeps his seat. We can't jeopardize it. But right now I think we lose the governor's seat. We don't get it, and we lose House and Senate. That's why I made the move.
All right, so now you officially make the move to United States Senate. Now you've got do you have to build a new framework here?
No. I ran against John Larson in 2008, years ago, when Obama got elected. So I've already run a federal campaign.
Right.
And so for me, it's just a switcheroo. What's neat about this is I've never had so much experience and knowledge about the state of Connecticut budget and all the problems they have on the state side.
Right.
But if you get the state budget and you look at it, it's like this thick, 4 inches thick. Half of it's federal money that comes in. So I have an insight on the state side that's going to help me with tolls. Let's say we're talking about tolls.
Right.
Everyone wants to speak about it. How can we really get the president to give us the ability to have a tailor-made border toll only in Connecticut? I spoke about that in the governor's race. Now I have the ability in the Senate race to look at the Federal Transportation Department.
All right, let's grab a couple calls as they come in. 860-464-9490, your chance to talk to Joe Visconti here in the studio, the latest entry into the United States Senate race. Before we take a call or two, so the idea is you have to start raising money, but what's the mechanism for running for Senate? Are you in? Do you have to win a...
Oh, so here's how it goes. We'll go into the convention on Friday, May 11th at the casino.
Right.
I think it's Mohegan. On May 11th, the governor's race, that is a convention on May 12th. So for the next 2.5 months, I'll visit RTCs. And I know almost everyone in the state anyway from running for years and being elected in West Hartford as a counselor. So I know that the field, and I'll go to the convention. And if the other two candidates stay in or if other people get in, you're going to have a convention, you get chosen, or maybe there's a primary too.
Right.
I can't tell you how that's going to roll out. All I know is that I took a look at everything for the last 3 months and go, what are we going to do here?
Right.
And I can't stress enough that there's so many candidates in the governor's race and all the talent is in one spot.
Right.
And they're all funded. So right now it's a perfect, except for Peter Lumage, not yet funded. I think he's close. The money, a couple $1 million has been taken out of Connecticut into those governor race. Right now, I got to go pick up whatever's left on the table.
All right, so
whatever's left out there, at least in the state level, you go gather that. But the competition for fundraising is basically over.
Sure. All right. So, but now you're the second person Republican that's running for United States Senate. Third. Who's the other one?
Let me try to get his name right. I think it's Rapini.
Okay.
A gentleman named Rapini.
All right. So to make it to the primary level, you just need 15% of the delegates, right? Same as it would be for governor,
same
right?
Thing, yeah.
All right. So there's a pretty good chance, no matter what, there'll be some kind of a primary.
Well, there could be a primary, and here's the problem for the primary for me. If there's a primary, in other words, if some people want to move forward,
right?
We're hoping to really light this up in the next 2.5 months, so that maybe some drop, maybe some stay. I don't know. It's America. God bless America. But all in all, I won't be able to get signatures for the U.S. Senate on the independent line because the public probably or the Republicans won't trust if I get signatures. And I will lose a primary that I would go in. So we're just going to bypass that and stay straight Republican.
No matter what.
No matter what. If I get in a Republican primary and I lose it in August 14th, I'm off on my boat over here at Mystic. I'm Mystic. I love you all. I'll help you out. And that's it. You know, I'll be 62 in December.
Right.
But I've got statewide name recognition. I can run campaigns on no money. But this one here, we're looking at $2 million is what we're looking at. We're hoping to get thousands of people to give small money and light it up with MAGA money. That's NRA. That would be pro-gun. That would be Trump supporters. And listen, Chris Murphy, one thing I can tell you, they hate him. I mean, he is not liked by the right. If we put memes up on Facebook, you've seen them. All of a sudden, if it's got Chris Murphy's face or Blumenthal, boom, there's 150 likes in like an hour. And it's just so you don't have to say who are you running against?
Right.
You know?
Well, it's national name recognition. If you're the guy.
Well, he's got a straight pass to the president, too.
Yeah.
He's got a straight beeline. There's nobody stopping him in Connecticut. And here's the other thing. Republicans won't be fighting, except for me right now. They won't be fighting a Democrat until August 14th. I'm going after Murphy right now on radio as we're preparing, so that our Republicans are fighting each other until August 14th.
Right.
So August 15th, in the middle of summer, they'll start trying to attack whoever the candidate is. For the Dems, we need to start pounding the Democrat brand, Murphy, and everybody now in March.
All right, Joe Visconti is with us. We'll take a quick bottom of the hour break. We'll go through the news. We'll come back. We'd love to take some of your phone calls if you want to ask him some questions. We'll move to some of the issues. Just to point out there, Foxwoods actually is the home of the convention.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So that's all right.
I'm sorry. Well, I played it safe.
One of the casinos. We'll come back. Joe Visconti is with us. Our number is 860-464-9490, 631-317-1949. We'll be right back. All right, Joe Visconti is with us. He just made the announcement he is running for United States Senate. Phones are jammed. Do you want to take a couple calls?
Absolutely. But first, I want to say Foxwoods. I'm so sorry. The convention for the Republican Party is in Foxwoods.
Yes, get that right.
Bruce, I'm sorry.
Yes, he's back. All right, Dale is up first. Dale, good morning.
Joe, I'd like to ask a question. I am an unaffiliated voter. Actually, registered a Republican, technically, because when there were elections in 17, I changed in 16 to vote in the primary for Trump, which, you know, I won. I'm not a total supporter. Lee knows that, but in your case here, when you're running,
Dale, you're breaking up, buddy. You got to get to one spot.
Yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
When you go to the convention, I'm sure you're going to go to the convention.
Yes.
Yes. I would appreciate if the Republicans would nominate somebody at the convention and not go to the primaries. All right?
Yeah,
Get behind whoever it is.
Yeah, there's the problem.
I'll vote that way, but and if you don't, I will not vote for a Republican. I'll tell you that right now.
Thank you for your call.
Yeah, because the Democrats are going to have to go to a primary. There's too many of them. They're going to run.
Well, not against Murphy. He's running for U.S. Senate now.
I'm talking about. Well, you don't know, right? Not against Murphy. But a lot of the Democrats for the governorship there's going to be a primary.
Yeah, but Joe's running for United States Senate.
I know, but because of that,
I
a lot of Democrats may stay home.
Oh, yeah,
right?
okay. All right, I got you.
I understand exactly. You know what? It's a free world. Who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah.
But you got to get together now and start looking at somebody like yourself, all right, and get behind the guy now. Let them spend their money on primaries, whatever, and save your money and get behind one person. This is what you have to do.
Thank you.
Otherwise, just like the last convention, you'll lose again.
All right, Dale. Thanks, brother. I got to get to a bunch of different topics that we want to try to get in the next 23 minutes. So I know you wanted to start with the crumbling foundations, and now how is that a national issue? Tell me about that.
It's so big, and it's so obvious to the people that are having the problem, 40-something towns in the northeast corner of the state. And I've been on this issue for over a year now, when I was in the governor's race, even till today. What people don't realize is 50,000 homes. People have to pay to fix those. The insurance companies are being fought in court. And the IRS deduction that Larson and Courtney came up with, you can deduct the loss. People can't pay to fix it. The state of Connecticut threw some several million at the program to inspect people's houses to help them find out if they have the problem. It's like finding out if you have cancer. Now you're on your own. So we're talking billions and billions of dollars of Yukon property, state bridges, homeowners, commercial property, and the Democrats did a fantastic job of trying to cover this up so the issue goes away. I'm going to blow this out of the water and show you exactly what's happening. Uncle Sam has to come in and help us. The state has to do more. What the state can do, and there's, you know what, God bless Paul Doyle from Weathersfield, he's a Democrat, but he's holding a hearing on this, and Tim Larson shut it down because the insurance companies have to be held accountable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What they want to do is charge all of us. I think the numbers are in the billions. You may hear an article coming out in one of the newspapers this week on how many billions a year homeowners insurance companies make in Connecticut, and they're threatening to pull out if they have to cover a couple $1 billion. Over the course of 20 years since this problem has occurred, they've made $200, $300, $400, $500 billion in profit.
Right.
So what is a few million? So they're trying to threaten us. Doyle's having, and so instead of Connecticut, people can go to those hearings that are coming up soon because this is billions of dollars. And the biggest thing is like illegal immigration. People are afraid to come out and say they have the problem. They don't want to test their homes. They can't sell their homes. It is huge. It was huge last year. Democrats did a fantastic job of trying to cover it. Well, I'm going to take the lid off of that issue.
All right. See, are you on the falling falling on the side of you think that...
Well, the feds have to come in and help us anyway. We need something from Uncle Sam.
All right.
They can't cover it all. The insurance companies have to be held liable, and especially insurance law. And a lot of these candidates, like Murphy and Blumenthal, have been taking insurance company money and looking the other way. So the issue, you'll see it in space and time on this campaign rollout. It's the suffering of the homeowners by the tens of thousands is not heard by anyone, and they can't fix their homes.
All right, let's grab Rob in Waterford. Rob, good morning.
Yeah, but didn't the insurance companies go bankrupt?
What insurance companies?
The ones that were supposed to be covering this stuff.
No, the person who supplied the aggregate went bankrupt.
Okay. Another thing I want to say is I just got my Connecticut registration thing, and we got a passport to parking fee now for $10, and the Clean Air Act that we had before for $10.
And what about did they just pass the state parks too?
Yeah, that's on there.
Yeah,
it's on there for $10 now.
Right.
Passport to park fees. So,
right. And your kid to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Your kid to go to Chuck E. Cheese will be next. They'll just keep pouring everything where they can.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rob. All right, so go from that to tolls here in the state of Connecticut.
Tolls quickly. Tolls are something where I pushed them during the last election for governor, debating Governor Malloy, with a tax deduction or credit for people that commute out of state, border tolls only. And there's legalese in the federal law that says you have to put them everywhere internally. Right. That's a lie. It can be, especially with the new transportation bill that's coming out, where Trump wants to work with all these different ways in different states, private sector money. There's a way that we can get border tolls only, not internal tolls, have deductions, and really hit people coming through Connecticut and help ourselves. We can't lower rates. We can give deductions for W-2 commuters. This is very important. It's legal, but it means you go to work and you got a job. If your employer doesn't pay travel expenses, you can deduct it. We can pass that law at the state level. I need the feds, and that's why I'm running for federal office now, to help us create a program, because we are a national security corridor, Route 95, Interstate 95. You shut that down, you shut down America. We need, and I believe the Trump administration and people I know will be able to help us tailor make something before state of Connecticut this session tries to say, no, you have to have them everywhere. Everywhere, you might as well pack your luggage now, pack your U-Haul, and get the hell out of Connecticut.
No question about it.
Because if they do that, everywhere, every 6 miles, the state's finished.
Yeah, because if I have to drive to work and go through 4 tolls by the time I get here, I mean,
no, it's over. Now you could put pricing at the borders. So you're coming out of New York with 50 tractor trailers, and you can say, listen, you're going to pay $15 instead of $12 because there's a lot of traffic congestion. You can do that at the border. Still, you can do traffic congestion at the border. So the great lie by the Democrats, and I'm going to say over and over, the Democrats, is that you have to have it. You don't. And because Trump is in flux with this new transportation infrastructure bill, we need a tailor-made ability by the federal government to help the state so that we can not put internal tolls. And it'll listen, the gas tax is the other thing. They're not stopping for gas. They're driving right through here. Right. So we're penalizing our own people.
I've heard, though, Republicans say the same thing, to be honest with you. I've heard, like, Fasano say the same thing, that they have to be all over the state of Connecticut.
One of the reasons I'm in the race is you're going to find that that's not true, and that's going to be changed. And it can be changed from the... in fact, Dave Walker and I talked about this during the debate, and he's personal friends with the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. So we can get this done. We just need to make sure we do it very quickly prior to the state this session passing tolls everywhere, which will kick in 6 years.
All right. Joe Visconti, the United States Senate candidate, he has switched. He was running for governor. He's now switched and moving towards the United States Senate seat, again against Chris Murphy. We're talking about some of the issues at hand. We hit crumbling foundations and tolls. Let's move to, before we get to some of the other real big ones, not that this one's not big, but there is an opioid explosion here in this country, where every day you pick up the paper and there's some young person who's died of some kind of, or not just young, but some person has died of an opioid.
And it's right. It's like the Route 11 extension that never happened. People talk about it and don't do a damn thing about it. And so there's been some talk that, the chronic pain, I have a couple of people speaking to me now on that issue, some things that go contrary to my beliefs. Medical marijuana for chronic pain in areas where they're not allowed to do it. Not that I'm for marijuana, but there's the addictive process, and the big pharma is where we need to look at our answers. I'm not afraid to go up against big pharma, because basically, like the homeowners insurance for Crumbling Foundation, they've got blood on their hands, and they're immune because the doctors take the hit for it. So we got to look at Big Pharma, what they can do to help this epidemic. Have you heard anything, Lee, about Big Pharma wanting to put $2 billion into the opioid crisis, into public buying ads on your show to talk about it? Have they lent publicly? Now, whatever they're doing behind the scenes, we don't know.
Right.
They got to come in and be part of this equation because they are profiting directly firsthand off of this issue. And Big Pharma is what I'm dragging into this issue. I'm waiting for Chris Murphy. Where's the Big Pharma donation? I saw what he's getting from them. Will he call Big Pharma out? Will he go right now on TV with Big Pharma? Get on the CNN and talk about how he's going to go after Big Pharma. He won't. So we got a lot to go after, Murphy.
All right, listen. Joe Visconti is running for United States Senate. He's here with us in the studio. Your website again, Joe, just so folks can check out.
JoeViscontiCT.com.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk Trump. We got to talk guns. We'll take more of your phone calls. 860-464-9490, 631-317-1949. Don't move. We'll be back.
Tucker, good morning, man. Thanks for calling in today.
Elci, weekday mornings on 94.9 News Now. Don't miss it.
All right, it's 11 before the top of the hour. Dan writes into us. He wants to know if he can join your team. Is there a team that folks can join?
Sure, JoeViscontiCT.com. Fill out the form. All your information, our people will get to you.
All right, Dan, there you go. So you wanted to talk about some of the political races here in the state of Connecticut.
In Connecticut. And this is not against anyone who's running for governor, but there are a lot of candidates. And Connecticut Republicans will be wise, or these candidates like I just did, to take a look at congressional races with their money or whatever they want to do to try to help the first district. We have no candidate there right now. Second district, we have someone, but I don't know if we have name recognition powerhouse people that can combat coordinate, at least to drive those numbers down for the governor's race. Third, we've got Angel, got no money, love them, against Rosa DeLauro. The fifth, they have two people. Manny Santos just got in. He should do well there. But we need some of these candidates that are strong in the governor's race before the convention to try to make a move, if they can, over to the congressional races, because we have to balance the ticket. The boat is going to flip. Right. Everyone's in one side of the boat again. I'll say it again. And so that would be my advice. I love them all. God bless you guys. But you know what? You better take a look at the whole ticket and what we need.
Who's the quarterback for that? Who should be setting up all those chess pieces?
If Jay Romano's our chairman, if he tried to get involved with it, it'd be called rigging things. So it's like, how do you make the first phone call? Right. You know, his friend's Tim Herbst. They went to college buddies, so there's always the rumors, he's trying to get Tim Herbst elected, which he's not. But the reality is he's got to really walk a fine line. So it's very hard. Republicans are not like Democrats. They don't fall in line. They're free wills like me. Hey, you know what? I'm getting out of here and I'm going over here.
Right.
We're going to get flanked, Lee. The Republican Party will get flanked by the Democrats and Chris Murphy, as they were in Stratford last Tuesday. And this Murphy, he'll be spending his money at every one of these seats, standing there like he did doing doors in Stratford last Saturday, with all of his people coming out rabid and take seats. And that's their plan.
All right, let's move to the big issue, another big issue, which is guns. And, you know, it did seem to me a little peculiar the way your guy, our President Donald Trump, sort of treated this last gun episode. And that meeting that he had, that was televised, very strange set of circumstances. What did you make of all that?
Yeah, I posted on a meme on my Facebook, love you, Donald Trump, or something like, if you're doing the art of a deal, no problem. If not, keep your hands off my damn guns. Right. I mean, so I love him to death, and I've worked hard, but I'm not this kind of person, just a groupie. If I think that he's going to cause problems, I'll say it. I'm not here to run against Trump because I can't win. None of that stuff. But I would call it out that, he sent mixed signals. And, it's part of his nature to send mixed signals, and it's part of his art of the deal. But the lowering the age to 21, or up to 21, which Connecticut is probably going to make a move on now. And I heard you call it before, why don't you vote at 21? Why don't you, buy alcohol, which you already do? So the fact is, school safety, until you can figure out mental illness and really get a program that the ACLU won't shut down for privacy rights. Good luck with that. And that's why no one wants to touch privacy rights, mental health. They want to talk about it, but not address it. Until you do that, secure the schools.
All right.
Secure the schools. And again, the Trump went right against it. He said someone will break in the front door and get in. Come on, you want to arm the teachers, and you're worried about somebody locking the front door? So he sent too many signals. I don't think he thought it through, and he got boxed in. That's why his body language showed him crossing his arms. That's called protective when you cross your arms for everyone at home. It means you're nervous, you're afraid, you're over your head in what you're talking about. And so, school safety. Cut back on some of the education money for admin. Our superintendent of schools, West Hartford, $300,000 for what? But we already have some police at our schools. Until we know what's going on, rule number one, protect the children. And it doesn't have to be our local towns, West Hartford, Ledyard. You could just have the Board of Ed decide we're going to do this. You don't, with police officers, you do not need to go to Dan Malloy, the state legislature, or even the federal government unless you want some money. You can do it yourself in your local community today. Each town can protect their students and their children. It's up to each one of the Board of Educations to decide that.
All right, so you wouldn't touch any of the guns at all, right? You would.
No.
There's no restrictions whatsoever.
No. And the bump stock, I talked on a debate about this. Yep. You could only have 10 bullets in a magazine in Connecticut. So you would be breaking a law to have a bigger magazine using it with 30 bullets. So that is a lawbreaker. So whether you want to ban the bump stock, whatever, it doesn't matter in Connecticut with 10 rounds. So we're finding that, look at Lee, there's cargo ships full of illegal drugs by the millions of pounds entering America every year, and they can't be stopped. You will have black market guns, and then you won't know where they are. So the bottom line is big, bad guns that look scary are one thing. No, don't touch the Second Amendment. They're eroding it, and it's not going to happen. But you know what? I want school safety to happen, just like the courts and just like the airports. Why would we do that there?
Right, but there's got to be something that can be done to sort of this epidemic is pretty much what it is with these kids shooting up either their schools or other people attacking, and not just 2, 3, 4.
It's a sad day that we had 9/11 happen, and then our airports turn into what they do, and you have to get undressed and take your shoes off. Isn't that horrible?
Sure.
But you don't do that in schools where you can just get killed for a different reason. So I'm not trying to just defend guns. I'm trying to say first line of defense is reorganize your school boards and fix your schools with alarms, with a police officer. There's an X factor of dollars that you have to do in each one of these schools. Do it. And then from your local communities, while the NRA is fighting the ACLU, because that's what's going to happen. People aren't even thinking about that. Do you want if you're on Xanax or something, do you want that to be reported? Do you trust the FBI with any information today? Who trusts them? So we're in a time when no one trusts the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. So you're going to give up our medical data, and if we're going to go to a psychiatrist, it'll be public. So that's why the ACLU and the rest of the privacy rights and information are the problem no one wants. I'll have that debate with Murphy. Right. I will go down the rabbit hole on mental illness with him to try to carve out in this race a way to get mental illness a bill that actually works, that secures our privacy. And I've heard him talk rhetoric. I haven't heard or seen a bill with any detailed specifics. Without rhetoric, detailed specifics. Your child goes here. They go to a psychiatrist. How does that actually work? And don't tell me it's a state law. That's what Murphy wants to do. He wants to dump it on the state. I know I'm a little into the weeds here, but I know the issues and I know the depth of them. I've been elected. I've run for Congress and governor once. So I'm very familiar with it, and a lot of people don't want to know the details. But Murphy is perfect by not putting a message out with any details. So we're gonna do our best on radio ads that we're gonna buy on your station in a couple weeks to talk about what Chris Murphy won't do. Right. Specifically, though, the radio ads aren't going to be attack. They're going to be specific so that we can educate the listeners. Otherwise, the listeners won't really have the data to make a judgment and become, he wants my guns, don't take my guns. He wants my guns. And we go back to that.
All right. Phil writes in, very cool, Visconti taking on Murphy. A couple of people are asking me this question. Did you ever think of running for state senate instead of United States Senate?
Yeah, I had to bypass that because where I live in West Hartford Center, listen to this, my state rep is Andy Fleischman, the devil incarnate in education, and Beth By, Appropriation Committee. So they are totally unwinnable seats where I live, 90% hair on fire liberals. Right. And I was a counselor in West Hartford. I made it through, which was an act of God. in that town, but I'm just surrounded by liberals everywhere where I live.
Okay, 90 seconds or less, just to tackle immigration. Your thoughts are similar to Trump's?
In 2008, I called for RICO statutes to take people out. I'm going to ask Chris Murphy in the radio ads. Chris Murphy, you're a lawyer by the Bar Association and swore an oath to the Constitution. Do you think it's okay that Governor Malloy and the Department of Motor Vehicles has information on where illegal immigrants work illegally, their employers, and drive-only licenses for people breaking federal law, harboring these illegals? As a lawyer that passed the bar, as a senator, U.S. senator, how do you feel about the law-breaking of Governor Dan Malloy, the Democrat Party, and the DMV? We are going down that rabbit hole because we will bring the RICO statutes against the state of Connecticut. That's coming up. This is going to be a hardball. Why? This is how we get on Tucker Carlson. Right. This is how we nationalize it, because we're going to really – it's all straight legal work.
Right.
And he's basically seeking to harbor illegal immigrants, which is a federal crime.
All right. Give everybody your website again. We're out of time.
JoeViscontiCT.com. Love you all. God bless America.
Joe, thanks for taking the trek down here from Hartford. We'll talk to you soon. Again, Joe Visconti now running for the United States Senate. And I appreciate him coming on the show to share our time, an hour with us here today on the radio. All right, we got to go. Special thanks to Joe, Ron Rando, Scott Bates, Paul Chenier, Wayne Allen Root. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. Till then, I'll see you.
That was the worst thing I ever heard.
It was terrible.
Horrendous.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, there were parts of it I liked.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.
It's wonderful.
Oh, bravo. More.
We'd like to thank you.
I'm Joe Visconti, a candidate for the United States Senate, and I approve this message.
We'd like